She was busy behind the scenes, plotting and scheming in ways I would never have guessed. One day, out of the blue, I got a strange message from an old classmate. "Hey, Elise, it's been a while. Are you and Claire still close? I thought things got weird between you two." Weird? What could he possibly mean? I shrugged it off, figuring it was just a misunderstanding, but then came more messages, each one hinting that Claire wasn't who I thought she was. People were implying things, saying I should be careful, asking if I knew what Claire had been saying behind my back. My first reaction was denial. Claire wouldn't say anything bad about me, would she? After all, she was the one I called when I was at my lowest. She was my friend, my confidant, the one person who knew my deepest insecurities. But curiosity got the best of me, and soon enough, I found myself scrolling through old messages, remembering conversations and realizing that maybe I'd overlooked a lot of things over the years. The picture started to become painfully clear. Claire wasn't just a friend with a few flaws. She was more like a silent saboteur, a master manipulator. She had been playing a long game, chipping away at my life and my relationships without me even noticing. She'd tell mutual friends that I was difficult to work with or unstable, then act like my savior, the supportive friend, helping me through my imaginary crises. I was reeling from the betrayal, but that wasn't the worst of it. It wasn't until I checked my job emails and noticed that a few positions I'd applied for had suddenly reconsidered me without explanation. With a sickening feeling in my stomach, I called one of the companies and asked if they could give me feedback. They hesitated at first but finally hinted. "A reference gave us some concerns about your reliability." And that's when I knew Claire hadn't just gossiped about me to our friends, she had sabotaged my career, too. I felt the full weight of her betrayal like a punch to the gut. Everything I'd worked for, every friendship I'd nurtured, every opportunity I'd missed, all tainted by Claire's lies. But if she thought I was going to let her get away with it, she had another thing coming. If Claire wanted a war, she was going to get one. I decided I wouldn't confront her right away. Instead, I would gather every piece of evidence I could find. I scoured our old messages, found old emails, and reached out to friends who had stories of their own. As I dug deeper, I discovered how meticulously she'd planned everything. There were fake stories she told our friends about me losing it or being irresponsible at work. The worst part? She told my family I was struggling mentally, which explained why they'd been treating me like I was fragile. Claire had gone full gaslight mode, and I had no idea how far it had gone until now. But the more I uncovered, the calmer I became. I realized that Claire didn't expect me to fight back. She thought she played the game so well that no one would ever find out. She thought her fake charm and innocent facade would keep her safe forever. But this was the Payback Vault, and she was about to learn that karma has no expiration date. Once I'd gathered every bit of proof I needed, I crafted a plan. Claire had recently landed a job she was over the moon about. She called it her dream position and talked about how she finally felt validated and elevated. So I thought, what better way to show her true colors than to expose her to the people she was so eager to impress? I invited her to a celebration party, under the guise of honoring her new job. I told her it was a small gathering of friends who were just so proud of her, and she bought it hook, line, and sinker. But this was no ordinary party, it was going to be her reckoning. I invited everyone she'd ever lied to, manipulated, or turned against me, friends, co-workers, even a couple of former bosses she'd trashed me to over the years. When the night arrived, Claire showed up in full confidence, basking in the attention and assuming she was the star of the show. Little did she know, every single person in that room was about to see her for who she really was. As the night wore on, I made sure everyone was comfortable and chatting, keeping her in the dark about what was coming. Then, when everyone was seated and she was in the center of attention, I took the stage. "Thank you all for coming tonight," I began, holding back a smirk. "We're here to celebrate Claire, who's been such an amazing friend." Her smile faltered a bit, but she kept up appearances. "Claire, I want to thank you for being such a supportive friend all these years. And because of that, I thought it was only fair that everyone here sees the real you, the person you've been behind closed doors." The room fell silent. Claire looked at me, confused, then nervous. But before she could say a word, I turned on the projector, and up on the screen flashed a text message, one of her nasty, manipulative messages she'd sent about me to another friend. I watched her face go pale as the second slide followed, then a third, each one revealing the lies she'd spun about me. Text after text, screenshot after screenshot, her web of deceit was laid bare for everyone to see. Some friends gasped, others exchanged knowing looks, realizing they, too, had been played. But the real shock came when I dropped the final bombshell. Oh, and by the way, I thought it was only fair that your new boss knows who they're really hiring. So I sent them a little package with all of this. Shouldn't they know who they're putting in such an elevated position? Claire's face contorted in horror. She tried to laugh it off, saying everything was out of context, but no one was buying it. Her mask was off, and every single person in that room knew it. Some of them walked out without a word. Others just shook their heads in disgust. Claire was left standing alone, and as I watched her scramble to explain herself, I knew I'd won. In the days that followed, Claire's world fell apart. Her job offer was rescinded, her friends ghosted her, and her carefully crafted image crumbled like a house of cards. And me? I felt free. No more lies, no more manipulation, no more being the victim of her twisted games. And that, my friends, is how you serve up revenge with style. Claire thought she could backstab her way through life, but karma has a way of catching up when you least expect it. This is the Payback Vault, and if you ever doubted that justice finds a way, let this story be proof that sometimes, you get to be the one holding the final card. Have you ever had to deal with a toxic friend? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the Payback Vault for more tales of epic revenge. If you love stories that pack a punch and bring the drama, you're in the right place.